Okay, so this is for the Yuri's Night 2011 Golden Anniversary of Human Spaceflight video interview.
You got a cold.
It's all the dust removing.
Oh.
Okay, now I gotta get rid of that out of the way. Okay, so let's get started. So the first question is, can you please introduce yourself and your affiliation?
Okay. My name is Joe Tanner. I'm a senior instructor at the University of Colorado, a former astronaut for 16 years, 4 flights, 24 years working for NASA.
And how has the first 50 years of human spaceflight changed society?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this question quite a bit, and I think the main thing that the first 50 years have shown us is that we can do things that we previously thought were impossible. And it starts with President Kennedy's speech, which was an excellent challenge to our country, but ultimately a challenge to the rest of the world to land a man on the moon safely and bring them home. That continued, that spirit of exploration continued to been able to do other things that we thought were impossible. And I'm thinking about a reusable spacecraft, the shuttle. No one thought that was a possibility, but it certainly has as we near the end of that program. It's been incredibly successful. Servicing the Hubble Space Telescope the first time. Everybody thought that was impossible to fix a major aberration in the mirror, and we did. And of course, Hubble's successes are legendary. And then finally putting together an International Space Station that is the most magnificent and significant space vehicle ever built over a long period of time, with the pieces fitting together perfectly. And these pieces, by the way, had never physically touched each other when they were on the Earth. So it's I think it's just taught us that we can do things that we didn't think were possible.
What do you envision the next 50 years of human spaceflight to be like?
Well, I'm an optimist, and I know that the vision of the next 50 years is a little bit cloudy right now, but I think this spirit of exploration that is in our DNA cannot be suppressed, and that we will continue our exploration outside of the boundaries of our Earth. I don't know what form that's going to take. I know there will be a lot of commercial interest and involvement. I just hope that they can continue on the path that they have so aggressively started now, and I'm sure that there will be still government involvement from our country and others as well, doing things that they feel are important. I think it's there is a bright future for young people in human spaceflight.
How did you get your start in the space industry?
Well, I will start back when I was younger. Before I even went to college, I got excited and enticed by the Apollo program, like everybody that was growing up in the '60s did. And I didn't always chart my path properly to get where I ended up, but things seemed to work out all right. I chose the adventurous route of being a Navy pilot, and that was the right thing to do. Finally came to work for NASA in 1984 as a research pilot. More instructing than researching, but did that for 8 years and finally got selected into the astronaut office in 1992.
Could you say a few words for people around the world that will be celebrating Yuri's Night 2011, the Golden Anniversary of Human Spaceflight?
Well, I think the adventure of spaceflight is a world endeavor, and everyone watched as the Soviets and the Americans were engaged in the space race of the '60s, and it was interesting, to watch those two sides battle it out, if you will. But now it's become a world endeavor where there are interests around the globe at the government level, but even more so at the individual level. And I think it's time for us as a human race to celebrate what we have done and look forward to what we're going to be able to do in the future.
How has flying in space changed your life?
Well, the opportunity to fly in space, and I knew this was the case the moment I got selected, that it would change my life forever. And it has. It has opened up opportunities for me that I would not have had in my previous line of work. it's been good. It's been very good to to be able to share my visions or my joys of spaceflight with other people literally around the globe. So it has definitely opened up those opportunities to minister to people and help them and along their path. And it's also opened doors for employment and opportunities that I wouldn't have had otherwise.
How would you describe the Earth from space?
Well, of course, in the shuttle, you're not that far off of the Earth. There's a misconception that the Earth looks like a marble when you're in the shuttle, and it's not. It does if you go to the moon or beyond. It would even be smaller. But from the orbit of the space shuttle, which is just a couple hundred nautical miles above the surface, the Earth is large. I mean, it's huge. You can see pretty good detail of things on the ground. You can make out cities and roads and airports, and you can't see any people, but you know they are there. You know where they are busy at work, farming in particular. The patterns on the ground. Can't see borders. There's just a couple places in the world where you can see borders, and that's just because of irrigation. But in general, you cannot see where one country starts and the other one stops. And so you kind of get this feeling, hey, wow, we're all one in this together. We ought to be able to work together for the common good of our humanity. That was more than just how does it look. People know how it looks because they see it on pictures all the time. But I want to conclude with how the Earth looks from. It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. The blues, the different shades of blues in the water, you can watch all day long, all orbit long, and enjoy the different colors and the beauty of our creation.
Okay. What is the source of your passion for space exploration?
Well, the source for my passion, I think, is the passion for exploration. And you can say, well, it's kind of trite thought, but we're exploring something that is really void, low Earth orbit. There's really nothing there. There's no air. And so what are we exploring? I think what we are exploring is the capabilities of the human spirit. And we have demonstrated that over and over in the things that we've been able to accomplish. The space station is a tremendous example of international cooperation and innovative engineering. Technology isn't necessarily new in the station, but the ability to put it together with pieces that never touched each other on the ground is really a magnificent feat of engineering and planning. What was the rest of that question?
It was just, the source of your passion.
Oh, the source of my passion.
What drives you.
Yeah, and from a personal point of view, I had this little scratch that I wanted to itch when I was a young boy. It's called adventure and excitement. And I started off riding motorcycles, and that was pretty good. And then I started flying airplanes, and I just kept taking that to the next level until all of a sudden I found myself in orbit. And after 4 times, I think I finally scratched that itch.
What space figure do you most admire, like sort of a role model or a hero that's within the space industry?
Well, everybody admires the astronauts, and one of my personal favorites is John Glenn. I got to meet him on his second flight, which was much after his first flight, but he's just a true American hero, in my opinion. The people I admire most probably are those that made the programs possible. There were some giants in the Apollo program that almost by superhuman efforts made that program possible by the power of their personalities and their work. And there are still those giants in the world today, and we may be watching some of those emerge right now in the commercial space industry. That history will tell how effective their efforts are right now, and it's an interesting time. It's an exciting time.
How do you think we can best educate the public about space and get them involved?
I think the best way to educate them is to give them information about the real nature of spaceflight. There are so many misconceptions on what we have done and what is required to fly in space. I don't know how many times I've been asked how many times I went to the moon, for instance, and I was 22 years old when we went to the moon. We need to educate the general public in this country and others on the history of what we have done in space, and I think Yuri's night is an excellent method to do that, to increase awareness of what we have done. And then the people need to understand from a technical point of view, as best they can, what is really possible and what is difficult. For instance, going to Mars is going to be hard, and people need to understand that there's all the aspects that make that such a difficult journey.
Just a couple more short ones. This is funny because this one was written, do you plan on going into space? And I guess the question would be, do you plan on going into space again if you had an opportunity?
Well, if I had an opportunity and my wife said yes, I'd go in a heartbeat. I don't think either one of those are going to happen.
And the last question here is, what piece of advice would you give to someone who wants to get involved in the space industry?
My best advice for someone who wants to get in the industry is to find, first of all, they need to understand what their passion is in particular in spaceflight and pursue that with unrelenting vigor, and don't give up. There's going to be some discouraging times. There's always been for individuals as they choose a path and then get set back a little bit. And the key is to don't give up. You don't get anywhere by sitting back and letting it being handed to you. You're going to have to work hard. And I use myself as an example sometimes. I applied for the astronaut program over a period of 12.5 years, 5 times, but I didn't give up, and I finally got selected. So, and I don't even come close to holding the record on that. So if you want something bad enough, you just got to work hard and not give up, and find the path that is there for you.
Great. Well, thank you very much. And do you have any other thoughts or things you wanted to throw in? But that's it for the questions.
Yeah. For the Yuri's Night salute, I salute all the men and women who are the heroes of the space program to this point, and all those that are seeking careers in human spaceflight, or even non-human spaceflight, because that's an incredible part also of our great exploration adventure. And I salute you and wish you all the best.
Thank you.